Today's video, we're going to be checking out the new NECA toys, Robocop versus Terminator. This is Endocop and Terminator Dog. So how tall these figures are, let's go ahead and take the tape measure. Endocop is about 7¼ inches high, while the smaller Terminator Dog is about 4¼ inches high. Accessories are a carbon copy to that of future Robocop. Comes with an Auto 9 handgun. Still made of the black plastic. Feels a little bit more of a matte plastic than what we got before with the other Auto 9s in the past. Really nice detail there. Always loved the design of the Robocop gun. And unlike future Robocop, this particular figure can actually hold it in both hands. Endocop does have both hands available, not like the Robocop that had the rocket launcher hand. So you can fit it in either one of its hands. Just a matter of, just a matter of preference, really. I guess technically you could say one of the other accessories that come included with Endocop is that of the Terminator Dog. But I guess the Terminator Dog is its own figure and not some unnecessary accessory. We won't call it an accessory. We'll call it its own figure because the Terminator Dog looks awesome. It has such a cool design element to it. It would be a fantastic thing to see this creature, if you want to even call it a creature, make its way into like a live-action Terminator movie. Could you imagine if a Terminator was sent back in time with like 2 or 3 of these covered in skin and being able to, of course, take the form of, say, a regular dog, and then the Terminator could sick these mechanical monsters, at victims and, of course, Sarah Connor or John Connor. I think that would be a really neat effect. Can you imagine the Terminator fighting off like 2 or 3 of these Terminator dogs in the past? Like I said, though, it's got some really cool design elements to it. Very skeletal and very terrifying of a display of a design here. The mouth does open and close. It does have pistons, but the pistons actually don't work. The pistons just basically sit themselves inside the head as you open and close the jaw. The yellow is a nice otherwise breakup to the silvers and really just all silver making up the body of the figure here. And then you've got the piercing red eyes of the Terminator Dog here. Again, it's got some really fantastic looking elements to it. Terrifying. I would hate to, come across 1 or 2 of these. James Cameron, I think, is making a new Terminator movie. I wouldn't rule out the Terminator Dogs, just FYI. Posability on this guy, it does have posability, which is a nice touch. It does have a ball joint in the head, so the head rotates left and right. Mouth opens, head hinges up and down. Then it also has a secondary ball joint, or swivel joint. It doesn't look, well, it does have a hinge joint. Let me scratch and correct myself by saying that. It does have a ball joint there. Does have ball joints on the legs. The legs do look a little on the stilty side because there's really not a whole lot you can do with them. They have the hinge here, and luckily they have the option to move the legs outward. But the feet look a little on the flat side. They are ball jointed, but you really can't do a whole lot with them. You can't like hinge them outward. You can't rotate the feet, so you can get a little extra. But I always feel like the feet don't sit 100% flat when you have this guy on a display. The back portion here looks like it could be on a ball joint. Then you've got a ball joint at the back of its, I guess, by its hind legs. And then you have the same thing with the legs on the back here. You've got the hinge here, you've got the hinge on the back, and then you've got the ball joint in the feet. By the way, it does stand perfectly fine. It's just a matter, again, of doing your best to keep those feet as flat as you possibly can get them. Sometimes it also helps to put them already on the flat surface and then just adjust the feet accordingly until you get as much of a flat footing as you can get for the figure to be standing flat on a surface. The Terminator Dog looks fantastic. To take nothing, though, away from the Endocop, the Endocop is much more machine than he is man. Of course, now coming across more like a mechanized endoskeleton version of Robocop than of the regular Robocop. Speaking of regular Robocop, just reach off to the side. There he is next to future Robocop. Torso, arms, for the most part, one arm, I should say, is a copy to one another. The other arm, of course, changed out to the missile launching hand. Legs are exactly the same. The little I think these are thrusters on the sides. Those are exactly the same. So again, there's really not much different between the two. I noticed this section here, this little extra, I don't know what you would call it, this little extra, it's not even a piston, but this part here is missing on the Endocop. I don't believe it came, even I'm looking at the packaging doesn't even have that on there. So that's one other thing that was left off. Otherwise, though, it's pretty much a carbon copy, same figure. Just turn Robocop's head around so you guys can see the differencing between the two Robocops. This one kind of looks a little on the silly side because you don't really expect to see an endoskeleton Terminator wearing a Robocop helmet. But swapped out from the black, the Endocop. I just find it funny to even say Endocop. The Endocop has a red visor versus the Robocop's black visor. The chin guard is also silver. That carries over to the exact same. The tops are also, looks like they're carbon copies to one another. It was only until later that I noticed this, that I've got one of these missing on future Robocop. And I'm going to have to check the package. I'm certain by the fact that there's these little peg holes on the top that this was supposed to be there as well. Another one of those. So I'll have to check that. Other than that, though, it's the exact same figure. Just this one. Also, one thing that this one has that future Robocop doesn't have, future Robocop kept a lot of lighter shades, some blues and silvers, where now here on the Endocop, you get much more of the darker grays starting to shine through. So gone are the silvers and the blues. Now in the forefront, you've got this nice gunmetal gray and some darker like areas where black has been added to it just to kind of bring out some of those details. Pistons are the same problems before. I was very careless when I was moving Robocop's arms in his review because the piston would always pop off. The culprit really is the pin right here. There's really not even a pin. It just snaps itself to the bottom portion of the arm. So if you're moving it too quickly, this little part just detaches, and then before you know it, the piston slides out of the chamber here. So just be a little mindful of that. Same thing can also be said, same thing can also happen with the lower legs too. Just don't get too crazy. Don't get too crazy, guys. This piston may find itself sliding out of the top portion here. Posability on this guy, we'll just move Robocop out of the way because we've already had a look at him. For the Endocop, his head rotates all the way around. You've got the benefit of the ball joint, so the head can hinge up and down. The arms hinge out, but I have the same problem that I had with future Robocop. The arms don't seem to want to move any further than that. It is stopping. It is telling me, don't move it. I feel like I want to listen to it, so I'm not going to move it any further out than that. The arms rotate still all the way around. You got the hinge back and forth on the arms. Very, very limited articulation, but that's to be expected if you're going to have pistons incorporated into forearms. Hands rotate. Now, this is something that future Robocop did not actually seem to have, that of a ball joint. He has a ball joint in the upper torso, so you can get some extra movements out of him that you couldn't necessarily get out of future Robocop. Doesn't look like he has a waist swivel. His legs hinge out, but not really by a whole heck of a lot. Forward and back on the legs, he's got a hinge on the knee, and as we had already discussed, he's got a hinge back and forth on the foot, mindful of the pistons, though. I thought initially that they might have had toe articulation. That not be the case, though. It's just a flat foot, both here on Endocop and future Robocop. Bit of a scarier portrayal of Robocop here, now being donned by the endoskeletons. Endocop is a really neat looking figure. He has all the same design elements as Robocop, just does not as much the back kibble that future Robocop had. Obviously the icing on the cake for me as well. Not only is this a great looking figure, but the fact that we also get the Terminator Dog, and that is a neat looking design. I'd love to see him be somehow brought into the cinematic universe of the Terminator lore so that we can get some Terminator dogs happening. I think that would be really fun to see them roaming the streets of the past as the Terminator stalking out its prey. NECA has once again delivered a fantastic looking figure and making use of molds, which is one of the things that toy companies are always looking to do. They want to go back and try to make use of as much as they possibly can of pre-released or already released molds that they've used before. Terminator here and Robocop, a happy medium, pairing the two together, and NECA, by the virtue of that, gets to use a mold that they had, just kind of dusting off and retooling it slightly, giving us here Endocop and Terminator Dog. A fantastic combo. If you are looking to pick these guys up for yourself, you can find them at your local comic book store, www.comicshoplocator.com. You can also find these at retail stores as well. These are now on store shelves, so good luck finding them if you guys are interested in picking these up for yourself. We are also going to be having some more videos coming onto this channel. I say we, it's just ultimately me. More videos will be coming onto this channel, but if you haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, don't let the Terminators take over the world. And Endo Dogs, that would be really, Terminator Dogs, very scary. The idea of dogs running around. Hit that little subscribe button down below. There's going to be more videos coming your way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.